everyone, and welcome back to the Whale Nerds Podcast. This is episode number 86. My name is Slater, and I'm here with Adam and Caitlin.
What's up?
Hello.
Sure, Adam.
Adam's very excited to be here.
Adam was
I
like,
got no mustache. I feel lighter.
The new man.
Yeah.
all right,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I don't want to just jump right into things, but let's jump right into things. Hit us with your sightings, Adam.
They definitely are statings. It's been a horrible week of wind, and wind is not fun. We've been successful on like most of our trips, but the last trip on Wednesday, yesterday, it was brutal. No whales. That was the first time in 5 months we haven't found whales, but it was just chunky as a turkey out there, and it was not fun.
Not good, dude.
Not good. Yeah.
Guess what, though? You got good news ahead. Why?
Because
I'm
I'm
gonna come up to hang out with me.
going to Monterey for like 4 days, I think.
Oh man. Well, that's a bummer, but weather happens. It's part of the job.
It is part of the job. Just whales being whales. They were moving around. They were not where we thought that. Actually, we had a report of 2, and then like we finally got to the area where like we thought they would be, and nowhere to be seen.
They probably just moved out a little, dude.
Well, it's just tough, like with wind and stuff. Like
You can't go where you want to go.
white caps versus like whale spout.
Yeah, when it's rough, it's hard to see them.
It's tough. Yeah.
Caitlin, how about you? What's the East Coast doing right now?
We had a pretty good stretch of weather until today, and then today it was very windy and rainy, although it did rain almost every single day in July, which was a little gnarly. I was a little confused. But we have had humpback whales, and we've had a few sightings of Atlantic white-sided dolphins. We have had some minke whales and a fin whale the other day. So pretty good overall. We had a pretty cute encounter with a mom calf humpback whale. It was Jabiru and her calf. And at the end of the encounter, Jabiru like draped her pectoral flipper over the back of the calf and like gave it a little hug, which was pretty darn cute.
Adam cried.
And
I'm gonna cry right now.
yeah, so it's been pretty good. The whales haven't been too far away, so we've been going live on Instagram.
Nice.
On Cape Ann Whale Watch.
Taking a page out of Slater Moore Photographer's book. I forgot that I saw some cool stuff actually.
Oh, did you, Adam?
Yeah, I did.
What did you see? I saw what you saw actually
Well,
on Instagram.
The thing I'm more excited about is actually we saw a big pot of short beak common dolphins.
Oh, nice.
Which was the first time this year. And my theory is that short beaks, for whatever reason, means blue whales. So I'm hoping some blue
Adam's
whales
very unofficial, unscientific theory is
Incorrect.
blue whales are coming.
Listen, dude, last year,
wind to whales, Adam.
Yeah, but they don't eat krill. So what's your theory on this?
I have no clue, but all I know is that last year, well, actually I do have a clue. Last year we had long beak common dolphins and there's humpbacks around. The long beaks dipped for 4 months and the short beaks showed up, and the blue whales around for 5 months straight. When the long beaks started,
blue whales?
Yeah, dude, easy.
Remember, he was freaking out every day. Oh my God, more blue whales. Oh my God, more blue whales.
And then long beaks started showing up at the end of the year in like November, and the humpbacks started showing up again too. And the blue whales dipped. And I don't know why. I don't think I've ever seen a pot of short beaks feeding with a humpback whale, but I have never seen it.
No, they're too spastic, dude. You always see them way offshore.
Yeah, it was just like, it's weird. This is the first time we've seen short beaks all year. And I got a feeling.
I think when you do see comments with tuna, it's usually short beaks that are with tuna.
I just don't know why.
They're just as chaotic as the tuna.
Probably why, yeah, dude. The tuna are I've already probably passed there, to be honest.
And we saw some dumb leucistic dolphin or something. I don't know.
Dumb.
He just
Dude, everybody's
He's just
Everybody's
mad
just
that
obsessed with
that
that dolphin.
well,
Patches?
there's good reason
Yeah.
because he's well known and he's been seen
cool.
all the way down in Mexico and all the way up here to Santa Barbara. I don't know how far though. He didn't seem pretty far.
I think
don't-
Santa Barbara's the north end.
Yeah, I think so too.
We've only seen him here twice. But like everybody was messaging me, they're like, "Oh my god, you're like stealing our dolphin? Like, what the heck?" And I'm like,
Also,
he's free to.
it's
do
a
what he
wild animal.
wants."
You have
So.
zero control.
Yeah, but it was cool. It's cool. That was my first time seeing him, so it was a good
I
encounter.
love
That's
Patches,
cool.
dude.
I've never
One of the-
seen Patches. That's cool.
Remember, I got him breaching off the Ocean Explorer, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be famous!"
I don't think I've ever seen like a picture of that thing breaching.
Oh,
I've seen pictures of it. Probably Slater's pictures, to be honest, before he and I were friends.
I don't know if I have any pictures of him breaching more, but maybe on my Facebook way back. He came up in my like what you saw 6 years ago or
Your
whatever.
memories.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memories, even though they weren't so great. No?
Anyway, so if you want to see what's going on when I'm out on the ocean, you can follow Cape Ann Whale Watch on Facebook and Instagram. We alternate going live on there, and it's usually me running the live stream. If you want to know what's going on in Monterey, if you aren't following already, Slater goes live when he's out on his boat and within cell range.
And if
And
you
he's
wanna
been
see
getting some
nothing-
good stuff out there.
I've had
If you wanna
breaching
see
on my live
nothing.
videos. I've had lunch feeding a lot on my live videos. I've had Adams yelling at me because he doesn't know if he should use a cell phone or a camera. He like forgets all brain cells. I've had lots of action on the live streams.
Yeah.
It's been good. I had a great week off the water. My boat was in the shipyard getting a radar, and it took way longer than it should have. And that was fun. But guess what?
It's
Today-
done.
The
It's
day-
ready.
Yeah, it's ready. And yesterday I went out for the first day back, and radar works. I could see all the boats on the bay. And then I saw Aurora and Fluke Skywalker, the calf, and the mom was feeding. And she has been doing this thing where every time she feeds, she likes to lunge, or she likes to do a chin slap, 1 or 2 chin slaps after every like sequence. So every dive sequence, whether she lunge feeds at the surface or she like feeds down below, she likes to do a couple chin slaps. Isn't that weird?
That is very weird. Maybe that's helping her digest.
I don't know, dude, but I'm not kidding. It happened 5 days ago, and then it happened 2 days ago. And every time I've seen her, she's been doing that.
Maybe that's
Maybe
where,
she caught a bigger fish on accident.
that's
and
why
she's
Fluke
chin
Skywalker
slapping to
breached
get
it.
it down her throat.
That's why her calf is all cracked out all the time.
Maybe, dude, think about
Maybe
that's
she's
why the
got
captain
jellyfish
breached
stuck
her.
in her throat.
Maybe she ate a leatherback sea turtle.
I don't think so. Those are pretty big.
Just to make sure that Caitlin couldn't see it.
That's messed up.
But guess what? Anyways, long story
Tell her
short,
that.
there's tons of whales in the Monterey Bay. I do think that I wouldn't say there's still been lunch feeding, I think every day really since it started. There has been a lunch, like, one surface lunch at least in like everyone's trip, it seems like. And today, even though the weather was supposed to be really bad, some of the boats went out and they had lunch feeding in the afternoon. So I'm really hoping that tomorrow morning I go out there and there's going to be a big old group of sea lions hanging out with, I'll give them 3 or 4 whales. It's okay. You don't know. I don't want any more or any less though. And then we get some lunch in.
Listen
Then
to
Adam
you
comes
trying
up
to
on Sunday.
Conduct
gonna have
wildlife.
Lunch feeding. Then we're gonna have breaching,
I
and then we're
come
probably
up
gonna
on
run out and see a
Saturday.
blue whale. And then on Sunday and Monday, the killer whales. Emma's pod's coming around. I talked to her. She'll be around for just a little bit. We can probably meet her out at like SoCal.
Sick.
Oh, you talked to her already?
Yeah. She'll be around. They're
I'd be down
due.
for
I mean,
that.
dude, we didn't even get a sighting in July, so everything I've been telling everybody's a lie. 1 to 2 sightings a month is a lie.
Yeah. The heck's wrong
Although
with
someone
you?
said they saw them, but like nobody was out or something, so it's possible. Do you think they could have gone in the bay and no one saw them?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Hundo P.
All right, so Caitlin did all sorts of science today. She told us in a text message, and she read like 50 articles, and now she's gonna school us on it all.
Like 5, maybe 6. But yeah. Anyways. Oh, we do have a host update. We have I'm not good at math, but I think 18 spots left for Whale Nerds Weekend. So thank you to all of you that have signed up already. And if you are interested in learning about the trip, you can check out our website, thewhalenerds.com. And I will be updating a little bit more of the trip info. I was looking at it today. And so there should be some updates on there shortly. And also thank you to everybody that's signing up for our email list. We will be sending you an email blast here soon. And yeah, so now we're going to talk about bottlenose dolphins.
Bottlenose.
Or as I like to call them, Tursipops.
Oh, wait, can I say something since we're going to talk about them?
Yes.
On our way to the harbor, we found bottlenose dolphin the other day, and then they met up with Rizzos right in front of Monterey Harbor.
Did they fight?
They fought to the death.
Really?
No, but they were playing around, and the bottlenose were doing those like high leaps, where they like throw their back up, like SeaWorld style.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I've seen that one time.
What,
They're,
bottlenose
like
and Rizzos?
doing like some weird mixing around, some jumping.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just saw it the other day, actually, too.
Bottlenose and Rizzos?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of size me up, bro?
Yeah.
How many were in your pod?
At least like
There was legit like 2
Rizzos.
bottlenose, I think, and then there was like a dozen Rizzos.
No, there's like 100 Rizzos and like 20 bottlenose, so mine kind of works better than yours.
Wow, that's a pretty big group.
It was a very big group of Rizzos. I was like, what's going
Adam
on?
has
here?
But also a big group of bottlenose.
Adam has one of those like magic pens
20?
when he writes his sightings.
Oh no, I had offshores.
Oh, we had coastal.
I don't mess around with those coastals, all right? Offshores.
Yeah, it's because they don't like you.
No, it's because coastals are lame.
Oh,
Wow.
really? 'Cause they're really cool in my book. I've seen them doing some pretty nifty behaviors inside the shoreline.
They're just very particular about who they spend time with, and it's clearly not you.
Really? Because last time I saw coastals with Slater, they were all over me.
Whatever. Anyways, okay. So Tursipops, whatever. Bottlenose dolphins. So this first article that we're going to talk about briefly is actually a follow-up to something we talked about, I think, last year. So the Bottlenose Dolphin Research Institute off the northern coast of Spain actually documented bottlenose dolphins attacking and even killing common dolphins. And we talked about it during an episode, and then this research group actually made a paper out of it. So you can now find the paper. Let me pull it up here. It's on, the original paper is on Springer, and it's called Spatial Segregation and Intraspecific Killing of Common Dolphins, Delphinus delphis, by Bottlenose Dolphins, Tursipops truncatus. And so this is all cited off the northwest of Spain, or the northwest coast of Spain, I should say. And my Google Docs just froze. Let me pull it up on another screen.
You might call them Tursipops. I call them the assholes of the dolphin world.
Wow, this is a family podcast.
Is it though?
It is.
Dude, they're so mean.
They are mean. They're very mean. And
mean.
maybe also slightly inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
And here's why. Okay, so there were the 2 species were only sighted in the same area at the same time 5 times over their 5-year study period. 3 of the 5 times that they were in the same location, there were interactions of displacement of the common dolphins by the bottlenose dolphins. So more than half the time, the bottlenose dolphins were like, get out of here, man. We don't like you. Then one interaction got cray-cray. They got video of it. They posted it on their Facebook page.
I remember that.
And the bottlenose dolphin beat the common dolphin to death. Honestly, it kind of looked like how killer whales hunt. Like, there was lots of pubbling. There was, like, jumping and drowning, and it was gnarly. Males, females, and calves were all involved in the harassment of the common dolphin during the interaction where the common dolphin died. But
Calves?
then So like, was this a teachable moment? Was this a family affair? I don't really know. But then this is kind of the gnarly part that maybe this is not a family podcast for. The males were seen attempting to copulate with the common dolphin corpse after they killed it.
Dude, people aren't ready for nature, bro. I'll tell you.
They really aren't.
And they
They're not,
suggested
dude.
that this was maybe driven by continued aggression and like assertion of dominance post-mortem.
Wow.
So that's a little gnarly.
That's super gnarly.
Bottlenose dolphins, dude. They're cray-cray.
They really are.
People keep
It's
telling
because they're
me.
so smart.
People keep DMing me. They're like, I want to come out, but I want to come out for killer whales. And I'm like, you think you like killer whales, but you might not. Like, you might like, dude, people come on the boat and they literally want to leave. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that fun.
Yeah, especially when you see him kill a gray whale and then half the boat's crying and half the boat's like, this is the best moment of my life.
Yeah.
You're like, this is group
And then
therapy.
one person is like, we need to go home now. This is not fair. And it's like,
Or they're like,
what?
can't you do something to stop it? And you're like, no.
Yeah, what are we gonna
These
do?
animals, this is
punch
what
a
they
killer whale in
eat.
the face?
Yeah, but also like this is what the killer whale eats. We're not going to stop it from doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think they deal with that drama a lot up in the Pacific Northwest with the harbor seals.
Yeah, I mean, harbor seals are so dang cute too, is part of the problem. I mean, gray whale calves are cute too. I mean, that's pretty sad, especially if the mom gets upset.
Just crazy, man.
Okay, so that's the first paper. And again, as always, I will post the links to all these papers on our Facebook page in the comment section when I put up the post about this episode. Okay, so the next paper is in Royal Society Publishing. It's called Evidence that Bottlenose Dolphins can communicate with vocal signals to solve a cooperative task. And the premise of this paper was it's an experiment conducted at Dolphin Research Center in Florida, which I believe is in Sarasota. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's Google it real quick before I say the wrong thing, because it might be in one of the keys. Dolphin Research
Keys
Center.
on Van Nuys.
It's in Grassy Key.
Van
Okay.
Nuys.
Okay, Grassy Key, Florida. That's where we're at here. Okay, so these animals are captive animals, and I do believe that all of the animals in this study were born at Dolphin Research Center. So we're talking about a little bit different than in the wild, but potentially translates pretty smoothly across to behaviors in the wild. The dolphins were paired. It was a male pair and a female pair. And they were tasked with pressing a button within 1 second of each other. So if they both pressed the button within 1 second of each other, they got a reward sound, and then they got a positive reinforcement. So the button was put in different parts of the pen across a lagoon area from wherever the dolphins were released as the starting point. And then the starting points over time, as the dolphins learn the behaviors, the starting point was randomized, and they were also released from their starting point at different times. So one dolphin would get released, then the next one would get released, and then they both had to go to the button and push it within 1 second of each other.
Dang.
And their button pressing accuracy was more successful if they whistled to each other right before they pushed the button. So they didn't do this every time, but they were more accurate when they did talk to each other before they pushed the button. So this is showing that they do have some sort of ability to cooperate with each other and communicate with each other vocally, because they moved the button around, and they tried to separate the targets far enough from each other that the dolphins couldn't actually see each other. So interesting stuff. There is still some work being done on dolphins in captivity that potentially can inform information about how dolphins work together as a pod in the wild, but you always have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because a captive setting is not the same as the wild. But pretty interesting, and kind of
that doesn't take away from the fact that they're clearly communicating.
Yeah, and they're definitely smart.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, the next two papers, when I originally got them, I thought that they were full access, but they're actually abstract only. But the abstract, I think, is informative enough that it's kind of interesting. So the first one is in integrative zoology. It's called Sexual Maturity, Seasonal Estrus, and Gestation in Female Indo-Pacific Bottlenose Dolphins, which is Tursipops aduncus, inferred from serum reproductive hormones. So the reason why I thought this one was interesting is because like we always kind of assume there's like seasonality in dolphin breeding, right? But like nobody really has great data for it in the wild, at least in most cases. So this is from a ocean park that's in Hong Kong, and basically they did like serum testing of the blood of their dolphins, and they found that on average their dolphins started puberty at about age 5 and became sexually mature at about age 6. And that there was a slight peak in breeding from February to October, so like summer-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if that's a holdover from like wild populations, that kind of makes sense, right? Like that's when the food's abundant. So then that's when you're going to be like, yeah, I'm ready to make a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, I thought that was interesting.
It is.
But it's funny, like, you know, you'll constantly see calves throughout the year, I think.
Yeah.
But there definitely seems to be like a sort of season. It's like same thing with commons. Like we'll always see calves throughout the group, but then like in the summertime, you see like these big nursery pods where like every female has a calf with her.
Also because we're on the water more in this peak summer though too. So
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess so.
And it could have to do with inshore and offshore movements of different groups too. But like my theory is like if it's 9 months to make a baby dolphin, right? Then like with Rizzos, you should see peak calving if they're getting pregnant in July. So you're looking at August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. You see lots of calves. I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we always see them like year round, right? Gray
Yeah.
whale season, there's always nursery pods going by, common dolphins.
mhm,
I mean, we had a nursery pod of Rizzo's just like, I don't know, a couple days ago.
mhm.
So
But something to think about. That's something that I've always kind of wondered, especially with
Yeah, me too.
especially with
Yeah.
animals like Rizzo's dolphins, where you have like a big squid boom, and then you know, like, do you have a baby boom after that? Same thing with killer whales. Like, you have a huge killer whale season, so 18 months later, do you have a big baby boom because all those killer whales, 1, were in the same place at the same time, and 2, had a lot of good stuff to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I literally was like, I had something today, and I just like it just. I hope
Disappeared.
Just goes to
crazy
you.
town.
Okay, so this next paper is also abstract only, but I love the title of it. This is in Marine Mammal Science, and it's called Lords of the Rings, Mud Ring Feeding by Bottlenose Dolphins in a Caribbean Estuary Revealed from Sea, Air, and Space. Yeah.
What?
Super cool.
I was watching an episode of The Hunt the other day.
That's what show
and
it's on.
It's so good. I completely forgot about the sequence, but like the way they filmed it was so good. And like
So
the
that's-
story was
I'm
so
pretty
good.
sure that's this group of dolphins. So
It
they
probably
feed
is.
cooperatively using mud rings. So one dolphin
yeah.
goes and kicks with its tail along the bottom and makes a mud ring around the mullet. And then all the other dolphins wait outside of the mud ring for the mullet to jump over the mud out of the water, and they catch them. I'm sure you've seen it, Slater.
Who? 1,000 times. Who taught them?
Dude, I don't know. They figured it out. They're crafty.
Brains.
How they're like, we're gonna make fake like because what the bullet probably thinks is like, oh, we're in really shallow water, we gotta like jump, right? Because the mud's all around them, maybe.
Mhm.
And then they're like, they jump out and then boom,
You're like,
get caught up by the
"Thanks."
dolphin.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish we could go there and film that with a drone. I'm sure it's super illegal, but it would be amazing.
They got some
So-
awesome drone footage of it.
Yeah.
Then also, there's another group of dolphins. So that's in Florida Bay that do the mud ring. Then there's this other group a little bit further south in the Florida Keys. that do this mud plume thing that's only like a half circle. And same thing, one dolphin makes the mud plume, and then like the other dolphins wait on the open end of the circle, I think, and then they all lunge in at the mullet. So they like build a wall and then they attack from the other side. So smart.
Yeah.
Really
I couldn't come up with that.
underappreciated, honestly.
Smarter than me.
It's because it was how accessible is it to get there?
I mean, it's in Florida.
You just take one of those boats with like a big fan on the back.
I don't know. I mean, you might not even have to do that. I don't know how shallow. I mean, it's probably pretty shallow water. I guess maybe you do need an airboat. That might be better.
Like water up to
Just wait out there. Get me my water shoes. Let's go. So yes, I think that's pretty cool. I would be interested to actually ask them for access to the full paper because I want to know like what the satellite method was, but I'm sure that those disturbances in the water can be seen from space.
You can see them from space, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
and I can't remember which, it might still be the Hunt one, but I think Our Planet had a sequence on it too in coastal seas or something. And you can see just like the little spirals from space.
oh yeah, I think it is in Our Planet. I think I just watched that not that long ago.
Dude,
You see that in the notes? I was like, was in a recent documentary? Question mark.
Even
Yeah,
a
there's a
even a
couple of
solo
them.
dolphin can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's more efficient like in a group.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. But a solo, I think that's even cooler that one of them can do it by himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's also bottlenose dolphins. I don't know if it's in this Florida area as well, or if it's a different place in the world, but they will chase the fish up onto the shore and halfway strand to
Yep,
grab the
it's the same.
fish
It's
and
the
then
same.
like go back out.
Same.
Crazy.
Same
So
population.
innovative. So cool.
Well, it's funny. It's like there's certain populations you know that like use the environment and the opportunity to make a meal out of it. It's like the killer whales down in Chile,
Patagonia. Yeah.
Patagonia, sorry. That beats themselves for those seal pups, and it's like only one family that does it. And I don't know if it's only one family of bottlenose that does it, but pretty incredible.
I mean, it's two different areas. I would think that it's probably different groups.
Yes.
I mean, bottlenose do have a
One or two
fairly
families,
significant range, but I do think it's two different groups.
Mhm.
Potentially more than that as well. Okay, so this next one is kind of interesting. So this is a news article that came out on NOLA.com, and it's about a Louisiana government researcher who says she was fired for raising the alarm about dolphin deaths. So she was hired by the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, and her job was she was the marine mammal stranding coordinator. This is Mandy Tumlin, and she worked for the agency for quite a long time. Like she watched the outfall of the Horizon oil spill and all that in the Gulf. And in 2019, she was fired. And she says it's because that year she raised the alarm about a project that was causing a very large number of dolphin deaths in their area. And it's kind of like maybe a cover-up type deal.
Yeah.
So what happened was that year, 337 dolphins were found on the beaches of the Gulf Coast, and only 9 were successfully refloated. So like 320 something dolphins, not even 318 dolphins died in 1 year alone. And that's like an abnormally high number of dolphins. More than 150 of those were found in or near the Mississippi River. And a significant number of those dolphins that stranded had these things called freshwater lesions on their skin. So what's a freshwater lesion? Well, I'll tell you. So it's they're like ulcers, and they're like these patches of ulcers, but also thick skin. And it's like this really, it kind of looks like they're burned. Like if you look at pictures of them, it looks like they got burned. And it happens when they have prolonged exposure to low salinity. water. So there's another paper that I will put in the Facebook comments. It's like a bonus about this phenomenon. And because their skin is very damaged, it makes them more susceptible to infections and parasites when they're suffering from freshwater lesions.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Right? The pictures are gnarly. So in 2019, the Bonnet, I think it's Carré. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't speak French. If you're from Louisiana, I'm sorry. Anyways, this spillway was open for 118 days, allowing large amounts of river water to discharge into the Mississippi Sound, which is also Barataria Bay. Also, sorry if I said that wrong. And this is actually part of a sediment diversion project, which is meant to rebuild the wetlands with river sediment. So, like, in principle, a good idea.
Yeah.
In practice, it's not going well. So the Marine Mammal Commission got involved. They made a report that came out saying that the sediment diversion project would have immediate and permanent adverse effects on the local bottlenose population in Barataria Bay. Also, what the heck is the Marine Mammal Commission? The Marine Mammal Commission is an independent agency of the U.S. government formed to provide oversight of marine mammal conservation policies and programs being carried out by the federal regulatory agencies. So it's an oversight group.
It's like the Marine Mammal Protection Act as a group.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So basically, there's an investigation underway about this lady's termination, and there was like a series of depositions that happened, and colleagues of hers were called up to like testify. And there's some concern that this phenomenon of this freshwater issue with the bottlenose dolphins could actually result in a functional extinction of the dolphin populations in Barataria Bay. And
wow.
Yeah, wild, crazy.
So is this
drama?
Like a Netflix documentary.
Dude, I don't know.
Whale Nerds production. We got to do some research.
So then another person went on to testify about this, following up on the Marine Mammal Commission report. And he said that not only is the dolphin population being impacted, but they're also seeing negative impacts on oysters, blue crabs, and shrimp in the area. And he says these animals cannot just swim away. By the time they realize that things are bad, they're already really sick and they die. And then he points out that dolphins have a very strong affinity for an area where they live, and they're unlikely to move away when their environment becomes inhospitable. It's like asking the people of Louisiana to move their entire life every time there's a hurricane.
Yeah.
Damn.
So who knew?
Not me.
And we're talking about a population of around 2,000 dolphins. So 2,000 dolphins in 1 year, we're looking at 337 strandings. Like that's pretty significant.
Wow. It's like amazing how much cetacean news can be out there, and we just like can't get it all. And like,
yeah.
And it might not even make a big news thing. You know what I mean? It could just be like a local Monterey channel or like a local Louisiana channel, or you know what I mean?
Like, that's huge. 328 dead dolphins.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of this before this?
No. Nope.
Caitlin, where the heck do you find this stuff?
Dude, I spent a lot of time on the internet and it's a little bit sad.
Do you just Google whales.com, dude?
Honestly, I get a lot of it from Cedal Fauna, the Society for Marine Mammalogy. And then like when I'm looking at something, I sometimes go into this like rabbit hole of other papers. And then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, wait, but then they cite this paper and this is interesting. And then I look up and it's been like 3 hours. And I'm like,
what's the other,
you need to get a life.
What's the other Facebook group? It's not Cedal Fauna. There was another one that had a lot of drama in it.
Oh, you really want to say it on air?
What is it?
West Coast Whale Geeks?
Oh, yeah. That one always had drama, and I left that one a long time ago. What?
Whale Geeks.
Are you in that one, Adam?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's like there's a lot of good information there, but there was just like sometimes there were some keyboard warriors in there telling people that they like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know. Is it still a thing? I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
Do you really want to say
Also,
it on there?
I will say, to the credit of Cetal Fauna, there's been kind of like a new routine where like every night there's like a bunch of papers posted by different moderators of Cetal Fauna from around the world. And it's like super, super helpful for me to do this for the podcast.
Thanks.
So thank you,
moderators of
Cetal Fauna moderators. Thank you.
I like Cetal Fauna. It's good.
Yeah.
But it's international news. It's international
Yeah.
information too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not
Exactly.
just us.
So this last paper is in Frontiers in Marine Science, Frontiers in Marine Science, the Marine Megafauna section. And it is Spatial and Temporal Effects of Whale Watching on a Tourism-Naive Resident Population of Bottlenose Dolphins in the Humboldt Penguin National Reserve in Chile.
Humboldt penguin.
This paper took me a long time to
Say.
go through.
Decode.
Also to say, there's a lot going on here. So there were 2 study sites over 2 time periods, and they sort of tried to compare the 2 to each other. So the 2 study sites is Punto de Choros and Chañaral de Aceituno. I don't know if I said that right. Also, someone from this area follows me on Instagram, so if I say it wrong, just message me, bro. Also, there's a lot of unrest going on in Punta de Choros, so if you're interested in that, definitely look it up. There's a lot of things going on there, protests and environmental stuff, and yeah. So right now, the status of tourist vessels is Punta de Choros has more tourist vessels operating there doing dolphin and whale watching than Chañaral. So then there's 2 time frames. The original time frame was from 1989 to 1990. It was mostly a shore-based monitoring program from the island that looks at both sites. It was a single group of dolphins that was observed across the 2 locations, they think. And the average group size during their observation periods was about 40 to 45 individual dolphins. Since it was shore-based, they had an average observation time of 130 to 235 minutes, so a couple hours at a time. And in the afternoon, they noted that they cited more surface behaviors during this original study period. So then now we fast forward to the second time frame. It's 2011 to 2020, so quite a long frame of years, but it's all vessel-based.
Very small.
Yeah, and it's all vessel-based monitoring on whale watch boats departing from both sites. So their observations for whale watch time frame is they saw multiple small groups of dolphins, typically 1 to 5 groups per trip with an average of 8 individuals. Their average encounter time was 16 minutes. The morning observations documented more surface behaviors. And out of all the documented instantaneous responses to the whale watch vessels in the second time frame study, 51% of the time they were avoiding the vessels, 30% of the time they had no response to the vessels, almost 14% of the time they attempted to bow ride the vessels, and less than 5% of the time they approached the boat. If you want to break that time frame down a little more specifically, in the afternoon sightings of Punta de Choros, where there's more boats, their avoidance behaviors increased to 63%, and their approach to vessels decreased to less than 1%. In the other location, the Chañaral, their instantaneous responses throughout the day was about 45% of the time they had no response to the boats. Then almost 26% of the time after that, they actually approached the boat to bow ride. And then there was the next percentage down from that was avoiding, and the next down from that was just an approach to the vessel. So in Punta de Choros, the morning they see about 4 vessels out every day and 6 out in the afternoon. But in Chañaral, there's only one vessel in the morning usually and only two in the afternoon. It's a lot. It's just a lot to go through. Yes, Slater.
Yes.
The thing is that's kind of how I feel about our coastal bottlenose dolphins. It's like, I think they have the opportunity to be by boats all the time. So they're not as interested as like the offshore bottlenose. Offshore bottlenose, boom, they come over. Common dolphins, boom, they come over. I do think they have a lot of opportunities with boats. You know, they do every day, right? But I think that coastal bottlenose have it more, especially when they're near harbors, right?
Yeah.
And they're also with like surfers and like, especially in Southern California. So I think that's why they're not like always coming over the boat. Sometimes they come in the harbor and they go way up the Newport Harbor.
Yeah.
And they'll even bow right in there.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think it's not all the time.
Yeah.
So I think
the numbers on the study though are interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but then it left me with quite a few questions. So my first question was, are there whale watch guidelines in these places in Chile? And actually where I found that is on the International Whaling Commission's website. They have an international handbook for whale watch best practices and regulations all around the world. And so I will add the link to the Chile guidelines in our Facebook post about the episode. And so there's been whale watch guidelines in place since 2011. And to be perfectly honest, they look almost identical to any of the infographics you see Pacific Whale Foundation put out. And I think that might be related. But they're basically very similar to the US. You need to be 100 yards away or 100 meters away from any whale, 50 yards or 50 meters from a dolphin. Approach parallel. Don't cut them off. Don't sneak up behind them. Slow your vessel as you approach. And then for Chilean blue whales, you actually need to be 300 meters away. So just kind of a side note.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then, so then my question was, so what's the level of compliance with these regulations and guidelines? And I don't have an answer to that, but I feel like that's something that maybe would help inform some of the information they gathered in these two places is like, yeah, there's more boats, but also like, what's the compliance level with the guidelines? And then my other questions about their data collection effort was how much of the encounter time that they had with the dolphins was actually influenced by the vessel's schedule and the passenger's experience. Because like you could track a pod of bottlenose dolphins for hours potentially, but if you're on a schedule or your people are bored, you're not going to stay with them. Or if something more exciting is happening in another place, you're not going to stay with the dolphins.
Yeah.
So that might.
Did they say it was one pod? Is that for the first study though?
For the first study that was shore based, it was primarily one cohesive pod, and they would see them from shore for hours. But if you're on a whale watch vessel, if you're at the mercy of a whale watch vessel schedule, your average encounter time is based on what the boat's plan for the day is. It's not based on your study effort.
True.
So did they judge these avoidances and the dolphins coming over to bow ride based from the shore?
No. The observers were on the whale watch boat.
Oh, okay.
There was some shore-based observations as well. I couldn't quite, I didn't like go through with a fine-tooth comb on this paper, but like I didn't quite understand how they correlated the shore-based and the vessel-based data. But
yeah, I think it was just like,
I feel like that short encounter time has to do a lot with the fact that you were on a whale watch boat. You weren't on a dedicated research boat that could follow the animals for hours at a time.
So do you think it was avoidance, or do you think it was? They haven't do what they were doing.
No, because there was the no interest category as well. So, like, I feel like a good rule of thumb is if an animal turns away from you twice, that's avoidance. But if the animal just continues to do what it was doing before you arrived, then that's the no interest category.
I like that.
So, and then my other question was there a photo ID effort that went with this study? Like, can they match like that original group of 40 to 45 dolphins to the dolphins they're seeing now? Because like dolphins live long enough that they could be some of the same individuals. So if that's the case, then did something happen to their population dynamic between the two study periods? Because it was like one cohesive group and now it's like a bunch of little groups. Mm-hmm. Like, was there some sort of pod fission as the older dolphins aged out and died? Was there some sort of big oceanographic event that caused a big disturbance? An example of that is the spotted dolphins that are studied by Denise Herzing in the Bahamas. After a big hurricane, like a lot of the population dynamics shifted and the dolphins like physically were displaced from a place they normally were for years. So like, did something like that happen?
Or like something happen with like people and dolphins.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the tact that this paper took at the end in their conclusion, was saying that like this increase in tourism is leading to could potentially be leading to all these drastic changes in the bottlenose dolphin groups. But I feel like you have to ask all those other questions as well. I'm not saying that that's not true because I'm not there. I don't know. I haven't been there for the study period. But I just had some dolphins. Yeah, we should just go there and ask the dolphins.
What's up? Are you guys pissed at us or what?
It's tough to get a hold of them. You guys have tried.
Yeah, they don't really talk on the phone, only shell phones.
Slater, you have to hit the right frequency. It's
and so basically the results of their studies, their conclusion says, suggest that whale watch vessels produce short-term changes in surface behavior. Nevertheless, it's necessary to study whether the changes in the rate of surface events are associated with greater stress and whether whale watch activity could have long-term implications such as health, energy budget, reproduction, and dynamics of the resident pod of bottlenose dolphins, which could be addressed by the application of the PCOD approach. I actually don't know what that is that they're referring
I guess
to.
if you're looking at the same pod in the same area every day, it could probably be annoying, right? But it's like, when we're whale watching, we're most likely not seeing the same whale or dolphins every single time.
It kind of depends on the place, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we've been seeing Aurora and her calf every day for like the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. So,
Yep.
But it's like that calf I mean, Adam's even seen it, just turns right to the boat and comes over. So it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is saying that maybe the dolphin shifted from Punta de Choros to the other location because of the high traffic of tourism vessels. But I don't know. It's like it's such a big
the differences between the two locations is just interesting. Like I would understand if there's one location with a bunch of boats that are going out, like, yeah, the dolphins aren't going to be as inclined to interact. But like if there's a different location where it's like, okay, there's not as many boats, like, especially if they're all fighting for like the same dolphin or whatever, like I could see how that could impact their behavior.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, that's what this paper is saying. So the busier boat place,
so
there's
like,
less.
It makes sense.
There's more avoidance.
Like I was seeing it more as like, are they just not as curious now though too, right? Like they were probably more curious when it's just like one boat coming through. But if it's the same boat every single day and the same,
there's like, oh, whatever.
It's like, okay, we don't care,
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting stuff to think about for sure. I definitely would want to know a little bit more about long-term study of the group as individuals and like if there was anything else that happened between these two study periods, but also like how good is the compliance in whale watch etiquette. And there wasn't really a lot of information explaining some of the average encounter times and things like that because of the fact that they're on a whale watch schedule. So maybe that is explained because they have the shore base to go with the vessel base, but I wasn't blatantly obvious to me when I was going through the paper, but doesn't mean it's not there. Again, I'll post paper. You can go look at it if you want. Make your own opinions. This is just my version after reading this.
I think it's super interesting how much information we have on bottlenose dolphin. Like I really do think they're probably the most studied cetacean just because we've had them in captivity for so long. Maybe that.
Yeah, I mean
but like.
Out of all the cetaceans, they are the most common and do the best, quote unquote, in captivity.
Yes.
But they're also very commonly distributed throughout the world, and they're also very accessible close to shore.
Yep.
So they're one of the easiest study subjects in the cetacean world, I would argue.
They are the reason we know a lot about cetaceans too.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Positively and sadly, right? Because they're in captivity. But yeah.
Totally.
There was a little news thing that hit Monterey the other day.
What's up?
The southern resident killer whales were extended down to Monterey.
That's It's in our topics bank, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Good spoiler because it's a current event. Yeah, so what's it called? So the critical habitat was reassessed and new information was put out by NOAA and NIMS in regards to southern resident killer whales. So now it extends into Big Sur.
Yep.
Nice.
Crazy, dude. I feel like you're going to see him in California more as time goes on.
It's like
I'd be down.
Yeah.
Especially with
I'd be down, but I don't want people to mistake like the transients for residents down here and try to make it like, some crazy
Yeah, it's
stuff.
true. I mean, it adds a whole nother level of complication for wildlife viewing in California. Like you really, the boat crews are really going to have to be on their A game with IDs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, because the rules are different.
I mean, everybody here is extremely capable of spotting those.
Oh, yeah.
Those killer whales.
Well, when you see a freaking pod of 30 roll by, it's like
the thing is before it was like, yeah, exactly. But it's either that or they're offshore. So
yeah,
for sure.
And judging by the time of the year, offshores usually show up in the winter, like December or something.
Yeah, December to February is most of the sightings.
Yeah, but then we saw the resis on March 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So they wouldn't be like the same time zone, really.
I mean, potentially though, kind of depends. It's not that far off.
Yeah.
And offshores have open saddles too, so it's kind of a tricky one.
It is tough.
Yeah.
There's great catalogs for them.
Yeah, there are. And new catalogs for them.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I learned a lot about bottlenose dolphin today.
Yeah. And I feel like this is honestly mostly just like new papers within the last 6 months. So like there's a whole nother level of cool stuff going on with bottlenose dolphins around the world, like dolphins that use sponges as tools, dolphins that actively fish with fishermen. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on with them. This is just like recent papers that have come out.
Who's smarter, a killer whale or a bottlenose dolphin?
Who's more ruthless, a killer whale or a bottlenose dolphin?
Yeah, that's very true. They're very similar. Oh, actually, I mean, I would probably consider a killer whale because killer whales actively hunt bottlenose.
I mean, that's true. Who would win in a fight? The killer whale.
Killer whales, for sure.
Look at the viral footage from Mexico earlier this year.
Gosh, so crazy.
Yeah.
Patches would win.
Patches would win. Just secretly a heavyweight champion.
Adam's a hater on Patches, dude. That was messed up. It only took you how many years? How old are you to see him? Took you like 22 years to see him? 23?
Hey, it is what it is. Don't judge me. I try my best.
I thought he was 18.
Well,
what's our secret whale of the week?
Indo-Pacific bottlenose.
Indo-Pacific bottlenose?
Specific.
Indo-Pacific.
Indo-terrific.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Caitlin, thank you so much for being a boss and always writing up some episodes that are
what about me?
Way above my knowledge.
Thank you for shaving your mustache.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam. Good work.
You're welcome.
And thank you to our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you all. Your contributions are what make this podcast possible. And if you don't follow us,
oops, sorry. I'll say thank you for another month of continued support since it's August.
Yes, thank you. And if you don't follow us on social media, it's at Whale Nerds. Or if you want to check out our website and look up more information about our trip, other projects we're doing, join our email list. It's all on thewhalenerds.com. Thewhalenerds.com. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Bye.